One. Hey, everybody. Listen, we're back on Broad Street for our 9th episode of the Brothers of Broad Street podcast. I'm here with Bryce Elig. I'm Jim Crowder, and lots to talk about tonight. First off, we're going to start with trivia. So, Bryce, the trivia question for tonight is, out of all the baseball players who have joined the 3,000 hits club, who has the lowest career average and who has the highest career average? Once again, out of all the players who are in the 3,000 hits club, who's got the lowest career average and who's got the highest? So that's the trivia question for tonight, guys.
Good one.
Bryce, you want to follow up? I know you're not doing bets tonight, but I know you have something to say.
Tonight, I hate to disappoint the fans. I haven't really looked too closely at the board tomorrow, and I don't want to give out a pick that's unfair to the fans. I'm fair to the fans here. Don't want to throw one out there that I don't believe in fully. Once again, if you want to see a pick, follow the Instagram. Jimmy posts them with an explanation that I have, and they're good. I mean, I've been rocking pretty good. I'm 26-14 currently on June 13th at 10:24 p.m.
It's not like this record's not legit or anything like that.
It is legit. Jim has followed it. I'm not a liar. There's no point in lying. You can ask a couple other people. I've been doing pretty well. But that wants me to lead. I had a friend text me. Not going to give out his name because it's just embarrassing to pick.
Confidential. It's confidential.
Yeah, confidential. I'm pretty sure people who know us closely have an idea on who it is. He put a lot of money on the Nuggets +5. I heard about it and I texted him. I immediately gave my opinion and said it was probably one of the worst picks I've seen in quite some time. Clearly a panic type pick. I don't agree with it whatsoever. Definitely would have gone the opposite way of that. So I'm praying for him. I'm hoping it hits for him on accident, but it doesn't look too great, Jim. It just doesn't look too great.
I believe
so we're praying for you over here at Brothers of Broad Street, and hopefully the fans are with you. I'm sure a couple people have been there. But really brutal pick.
I will say something that I believe this person, I had to go with his thinking. I would have thought, it's a close game right now. Actually, let me check real quick. Give a live update. See what we got. Denver Suns. I'm just going to give a live update right now. Suns are up 114-105 with 2 minutes left.
Could be tight, but just definitely a brutal pick there. Bryce's best bets would have disagreed with that. I bet Bryce's best bets loved the Suns -1 in the first half, and they easily covered that. Just want to put that out there as well.
No, yeah, going with this person's thinking, you got to figure that the Denver Nuggets would have gotten a game, but with the way the Suns are playing.
See, I'm huge on rolling with the hot team. You know me, I'm a big Suns guy. When I'm not rooting for the Sixers, I'm usually rooting for the Suns. I don't know why. I just kind of, I just really like that team.
Devin Booker's your guy.
Devin Booker's my favorite player, so I've been watching this team, and like I said, CP3 is, I feel like, kind of at least 90% back from the injury. Ayton, I think, has been huge. He's proving why he was the number 1 pick in that draft. He's still an excellent player. People just look him with Trae Young and Luka Doncic. We all know about Devin Booker, but another key factor is Miles what's his name? No, Miles Bridges. That's his name. Miles Bridges has been playing absolutely spectacular on both ends. Would have loved if he was in a Sixers uniform. That will always bother me a little bit, but he's been playing great. The Suns team looks good. They're riding high, and Michael Porter Jr. is not ready to be that second guy yet. He needs another year under his belt. He's missed bad from 3. He needs to, don't get me wrong. I think he's going to be a great player. He's got a lot of potential, but he's definitely wasn't ready to be the number 2 guy in a series like this against a really good team. But, it's a learning curve. It's big that they beat the Blazers. I think there could be a solid team in the future with Murray coming back. They got a good coach, but yeah, they weren't ready for the Suns this series. They were lucky to get out of the first round, and the Suns, they proved that why they're a legit team and why Denver should have not been there.
I'm very glad you brought up a point that you did when you said about Michael Porter Jr., about him not being ready to be the number 2 guy. And that's his issue this series is, yes, the Joker obviously getting all the attention when he's on the offensive end, but then the ball goes into the hands of Michael Porter Jr. and the team's looking for him to facilitate the offense and do something that Jamal Murray does. And he's just not there. He's not at that level yet. Does he have he has the athleticism and the skills to be a great player. I think he will be a good player in this league, but he's nowhere near the talent level of Jamal Murray, especially when it comes to controlling that offense.
I think a big issue of his, and I really am a big fan of him. I could see him being a not Kevin Durant, but Kevin Durant type player. He's got the whole build. He can shoot and all that, but that's where I bring up the issue. His 3-point shooting has been pretty bad all season. I mean, I've watched the playoffs. I mean, at the end of the day, Jim, if you make 2 out of 10, 1 out of 9, it's not good. You're gonna lose. You're gonna lose games, plain and simple. You got to be hitting in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
If you're shooting 10, you got to hit 4. It's the truth. I mean, you watch Devin Booker. He's shoots. If he shoots 10, he's hitting 7 of them. I mean, he's obviously it's unbelievable, but you got to make shots in the playoffs. It's not like the regular season. Defense is better. When you get an open shot, you got to hit it, and he hasn't been hitting those open shots. And hopefully next year, I think we'll be, I think that will be coming into his fourth season. Will be coming into his fourth season. That's a big year for, that's just a big year to take that next step. I could see him doing it. I think he's an athletic freak. But yeah, he just didn't.
Just if you look at player for player, both rosters, the Suns just have a deeper team. They just do.
Yeah. Also, I want to make a point. I really don't like him as a player. Jay Crowder played really good this series. I watched a lot of it. He played probably his best basketball I've seen him play in a couple of years tonight, or not tonight, but over the last couple of games. He shoots the 3 a lot, and he misses the 3 a lot. But in this series, I saw he made a lot of big shots. He played solid defense. He played really well on Morris, their point guard over there. He usually is Morris is a solid scorer, but Jamal Murray or Jay Crowder was able to shut him down pretty good, and that was big for them. And I don't think Chris Paul ever misses those elbow fadeaway jumpers.
118 to 111, 1 minute left.
118, 111. This is big, folks. We are praying for the man. We are praying for the man. It's going to be tight. It's going to be tight. We'll see what happens. We'll keep it.
Nuggets got 5 to start the game.
Who's got it?
The Nuggets were getting 5 points to start the game.
No, the Nuggets were getting 3. I believe our friend must have live bet them +5. It's I don't know how
Booker just hit a jumper at the free throw line.
I just saw it might have been 120 to 113. I don't know if that was a mistake. I don't know what I saw there.
120 to 113.
With 38 seconds left, maybe? I don't know.
30.
We're gonna. This is big, folks. We're gonna have to stay involved here. I'm sweating it out like I bet it, which I didn't. I'm not even betting like.
Oh, timeout. Oh, foul, maybe.
We got a personal foul on Aaron Gordon. Who's he sending to the line? That's big. Oh, Devin Booker's going to the line. That's not the guy you want. I think he made one and missed one. I don't know if he. Oh my God, this is tight, folks. I don't know if you're updating like I am, but I got 121, 116. Suns just called a timeout.
You're a little bit ahead of me.
Yeah, what's it called? I'm on the ESPN app. Shout out ESPN. But yeah, no timeout. So we'll update the fans when that happens, when that comes around. But yeah, Michael Porter Jr. Let's see next season, big season. I would if Michael Porter Jr. was a stock, I would buy into him for next year.
That's a bold take. That's a bold take right there. No, I definitely think he's going to have a good career.
I wouldn't put my mortgage on him, but I would throw a little stock in there.
No, I mean, to see where he's come from when he was coming out and getting drafted, teams or executives thought the Sixers may have taken him with their later pick that they had in the draft. Was he the same year as Fultz?
Yeah, I think he was. I know he was the number 1 player coming out of all of high school, but the issue is he would have been the number 1 pick in the draft, but he chose to go to a smaller school.
But he got hurt too.
He got hurt in the very first game and didn't play the whole year.
And that's why his draft.
And then he was aggressive to go right into the draft, and he did. And at the end of the day, I mean, people don't want to draft a guy that. Denver's always been known as that team, though. They drafted Bol. They draft those guys. Like, they're like the guys that slip in the draft and are like, everyone's like, why is no one taking them? The Nuggets are like, don't worry, we're going to take them. They buy into that stuff. They're big.
For me, if I was a GM, I would pick guys like that because they've showed that they are a stud when healthy. It's just a matter of, I mean, if you look at, dude, wouldn't you give anything in the world to convince Howie Roseman to pick DK Metcalf after his surgery? I mean, everyone thought DK was done after he had that neck. Did he have neck surgery or back surgery?
I don't know. He's had a lot of surgeries and a lot of injuries. The real reason why we didn't take him was that 3-cone drill was like really big. He ran a slower 3-cone drill than Tom Brady, which is obviously concerning for that. I get why teams might have passed on him, but yeah, obviously he's turned out to be a stud.
Yeah. Dude, where are you at right now? I'm just deep into this game right now.
It's probably still timeout, I think. I'm not sure.
I got
Yeah,
18. Oh, Chris Paul's gone to the line. Oh no, he's not.
I've got Capello personal foul. With 18 seconds left, Chris Paul makes first free throw. DeAndre Ayton enters game with 18.7 seconds left. So Chris Paul makes the first. I got.
Look at these Chris Paul stats. First half, he had 12 and went 4 for 7 from the field. Second half, he had 23, went 10 for 12. Is he not a stud?
He's an absolute stud. I got a 121. I got 123, 116 Nuggets full timeout.
Question.
Let me hear it.
Chris Paul, does he deserve the max contract? Yes or no?
So, Jimmy, I don't know if you personally know this about me, but Chris Paul, if I had to rank in the top 10 favorite players of all time, he's in my list. I absolutely love Chris Paul. I'm a huge Chris Paul guy, one of the bigger Chris Paul guys probably around. I've always been a big believer of him. I even said last year, obviously we didn't have the podcast then, I wish we did, that when he went to OKC, I knew that he would make them a winning team. Everywhere he goes, he wins. I'm not saying he wins the big stuff and he, whatever and this and that, but he's a winner. I mean,
he creates a winning culture.
He's a veteran. I heard he's actually probably the hardest worker in the NBA. I've heard that from multiple sources. A lot of people say he's like the first guy in by a couple hours and the last guy out by a couple hours. He really grinds to bring the best out of even smaller players. Like I could see him bringing the best out of like Dario Saric, and he's probably brought the best out of Miles Bridges. I mean, he was always a solid player and a good player, but he makes every team better. I mean, look at the Suns team. They've been very irrelevant over the last couple of years, and they bring him in, and they're the second best team, and they're looking, in my opinion, I think they'll be in the finals this year, and that says a lot about him. I would definitely give him the max contract. I still think he's got another 2-3 years left in the tank. I still think he's going to be a great player, even though he's not. What's great about his game is that it's a lot different from a guy like LeBron or Kevin Durant, where they really rely on his scoring. He's always been known for his passing, and you really never lose that ability. Look at Rondo, 15 years now in the NBA, still has that same passing ability. And I think Chris Paul, will continue to be like that, continue to be able to pass the ball great and continue to help out his team. So that's why I really, really think he deserves the max. What do you think of him?
You're not worried about his age. You would give him the 3-year, $40 million a year.
It's 3-year, $40 million a year. I'm for it. I think the Suns should do it. I mean, we'll see what team signs him. I think the Suns are going to have a tough time giving him back. I think teams will offer him more money. Like perfect example is if I was the Sixers and we had the cap, if we had $50 million or something like that, I would give it to CP3, no doubt, easily.
Oh, we tried getting him before when we.
I was a big But I was a huge.
He didn't want to play for Doc, and understandably.
Yeah, I was a huge advocate to get him. I also think what made him look bad is James Harden. A lot of people sided with him because he was the better player when they had that whole beef. And I was always a CP3 guy. I
love watching him on the Rockets. They would have won. They would have went to the finals that year if he didn't get hurt. 6.
If he didn't get hurt, Chris Paul's had a very unlucky career for a guy that good. And I think I saw Shannon Sharp made a point today, and they were like, if CP3 doesn't ever win a ring, his legacy is still cemented as one of the best point guards to ever live. And I mean, obviously a ring would really help, but there's no doubt.
It puts him into the top 5, I think, if he wins a ring.
I agree with you. And he's right outside the top 5 if he doesn't. I mean, he's definitely top 10. No
here's the one condition that I'll give him the max contract. Because for me, I still think, baseball is a type of sport where you get paid for what you did, not what you're going to do. I think football is a sport where you're going to get paid for what you're going to do, what the team expects of you. You know what I mean? You know what I'm trying to say?
No, I know exactly.
So like in baseball, Ryan Howard got a huge contract after he had 3 great seasons of MVP type stuff.
Jim, I'm sorry. Breaking news. I want to give a live update. The Suns have captured the game 125-118. Our friend is a loser. That's a tough beat. I just want to point that out there. And I also want to say that you can fast forward about 5 minutes ago. I very much disagreed with that pick and said it was bad. I told him to actually, cash out of that. Sorry to break it to you, my friend. They are a miss. So sorry. Prayers up to him tonight. Had to give the update. We had to give the update for the fans.
You had to give a live update. They were definitely paying attention because they wanted to make sure that our friend was okay, but he's clearly.
No, we wanted it to win. I really did. I didn't want to have to laugh at him on the air, but we wanted it to win, and unfortunately, it is a loser.
Sometimes the ball just doesn't roll your way. It just happens.
Yeah, so it's official. The Suns 4-0 sweep. That's a big win. They don't have to bring it back and worry about finishing them off at Phoenix or any sort of momentum. Good for the Suns. They're ready. They'll be ready for round 3.
That's big time. Go back to the one question that we just had a little bit earlier.
Sorry about that.
No. Dude, we had to give a live update. The fans wanted to know. Phoenix will give him the max contract if they win the title this year. I think if Chris Paul doesn't win the title, he gets below the max. I just think that's what's going to happen. Kind of like, yo, if you do this for us, we'll do this for you. You know what I mean? Like,
I want to make a point real quick. Let's say I think the Phoenix, I really do. I think Phoenix is a lock for the title. I think we should already.
For the title or for the.
Not to win it, to be in the finals. My apologies. I worded that.
I just want to clarify.
In my opinion, I think they're a lock to go to the title. A lock to go to the finals. They're a lock to go to the finals. And to me, it depends. If they lose in 5, if they, bad, or they lose in 6, and the 6th game isn't competitive, then no. But if they go 7 and they lose, by 5, 3 points, let's just say something like that, I still think he'll get the max. But yeah, I agree. He'll 1,000% get the max if they win the title. Definitely, they'll give him the super max probably.
Could you see Chris Paul going to a different team, i.e., Miami or Milwaukee, if they offer the max?
Yes.
Or a team like Chicago even. Like, could you see a guy like Dwayne Wade, who's from Chicago, kind of persuade him to come to the city of Chicago, bring all those young guys up, kind of like what he just did with Phoenix? There's so many. Chicago has the money.
I got a big point. I don't know where the Lakers sit financially. I'm sure they could deal out some things. I know they're still paying Luau Deng like $18 million a year, and he hasn't played for the team in 3 years. But obviously, you get rid of some guys on the side, like Montrezl Harrell's not going to come back on his option. You get rid of Kuzma for literally anything you can get rid of him for, Caruso, anything, and you make room. CP3 is going to want to play with one of his best friends. But Dwayne Wade's retired. Carmelo's going to be on Portland or on a random team. I could see LeBron maybe convincing him to come, and that would bring LeBron. Could you imagine? I don't know if they can make the cap work, but LeBron, AD, and Chris Paul, if AD could stay healthy, that's a title, guaranteed.
It's a guarantee. I think the Lakers do need someone to facilitate that offense when LeBron's off the court.
Yeah, Schroeder's good, but he's not good enough.
He can't carry the team when LeBron's off the court. It's nothing against him. He's a great player. I would want him on the Sixers. I want him on my team if I was a GM because he's a good player. But I mean, when you look at the Lakers offense and defense when LeBron's not on the floor, it's awful. They're awful. They're worse than that Cleveland Cavaliers team with Jordan Clarkson, Larry Nance, George Hill. They're worse than that team.
Yeah, that was before Jordan Clarkson
took off.
Yeah.
Dude, that's sticking with the Suns and talking about the championship percentages. I want to go. I saw a tweet today. The Hoop Central tweeted this, courtesy of 538. I don't know. Do you follow them? They give a lot of stats and percentages. Quick update.
I don't follow them, but I follow a lot of similar type stuff.
Okay.
That probably post similar things.
Do you agree with this? Right now, for teams with the best percentage chance to win the NBA Finals, they have the Suns ranked at number 1 at 25%. They have the Utah Jazz at 23. They have the Philadelphia 76ers at 22. They have the Brooklyn Nets at 17. They have the Milwaukee Bucks at 6, and they have the Los Angeles Clippers at 6. Do you agree with that order?
No, absolutely not. No way whatsoever. I can get behind 25% on Suns. I can see why you have the Suns at number 1, which I can't disagree with it. But the Nets and Bucks that low is, even the Clippers that low, I think is ridiculous. I think everyone's giving a little bit too much credit to this Jazz team. I think they're good, but listen, any team with Kawhi Leonard on it is a scary team. They can come back from wherever, and I think the Clippers are going to tie this series up 2-2.
Any team with Paul George on it, though, is in trouble.
I know, but I know, but they played really well last game, and I mean, they're not going to go down without a fight. It doesn't matter if they go down to 3-0. That team will not go down without a fight. Kawhi
What's the
Leonard
series
is
at
Kawhi
right now?
Leonard.
2-1? 2-0.
They're 2-1. In the what you call it, the Clippers. The Clippers just crushed the Jazz. They just
So
obliterated
it's
them.
2-1, right?
Yeah, it's 2-1. One more
And
game.
they play tomorrow.
Yeah, they play tomorrow.
They play tomorrow after our game, Philly Hawks.
Yeah, Philly Hawks. I like the Clippers. I think they should be a little higher. You know me. We talked about it earlier in the podcast. You had Miami as your sleeper team. That was a really bad take, and I had the Clippers. Just wanted to throw a little shade at you. You had Miami as your sleeper team.
No. We had, I did have Miami as a sleeper team. I did, but they
and
also.
I had Bucks Clippers as a sleeper team, and I mean I'm just saying.
I don't see how the Los Angeles Clippers can be a sleeper team when they have Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, Rajon Rondo.
Nobody was talking about them. That's all I got to say.
Nobody was talking about them as a third seed. The Milwaukee.
Nobody was talking about. No, they're fourth. I think they're fourth.
Okay, my bad. Yeah,
nobody was talking about them. Just saying.
Okay, yeah, nobody was talking about them. Yeah, they fell under the radar all year. The past couple of years, no one's known about.
Just saying that he got swept. I had to put that
the Clippers came out of nowhere. It's all good. But anyway, this actually, to give you an idea of when this was posted an hour after the Milwaukee Bucks.
Well, I was going to say this was definitely posted after Kyrie went down.
So when Kyrie went down, now they're out with, dude, they're not going to rush Harden back. Hamstring's something you don't want to mess with that. And I think
Jim, if they go down 3-2,
dude, we were talking about this on the last episode. We don't want to see anybody get hurt.
But I'm not upset if somebody gets hurt.
This is, and for me, Milwaukee at 6%. I think they got to get a little bit higher percentage.
No, Milwaukee's got to be above 10%. They have to be above 10%.
I was going to put them at 10. Because listen, Milwaukee did not look good when the Brooklyn Nets were full strength.
No, but I think Chris Middleton is now playing as he should. He's a good player. He was not playing good the first 2 games, and now he's playing good. And Blake Griffin's come down to earth a little bit.
Do you like the Sixers at 22% or no?
Yeah, I mean, I think they beat the Hawks, but my point is, and I was getting yelled at by some fans the other night when I saw them. They were mad. They thought I was being negative and I was being salty. I was giving my opinion. I don't see the Sixers, as we talked about before, a healthy Nets team. I don't think the Sixers are ready for them. I don't think the bench is not good enough, and I thought the Nets would beat us pretty easily. A sweep, if not 5 games max. That was my honest opinion. But now that Harden's out, we don't know really his timeline. And now Kyrie's out. From what I saw, the injury looks kind of serious. He's had ankle problems. He's had ankle problems throughout the last couple of years of his career. If he's out and they can't win the series with just Kevin Durant, which I'm not saying they can't, because they probably still could win the series with just Kevin Durant on their team because he's Kevin Durant. But I love our chances against Milwaukee. I absolutely love our chances against Milwaukee. Joel.
Scared of Milwaukee, though? You still scared or no? Now you're confident with the
No, I mean, listen, Milwaukee.
Watching them play the Nets, are you more confident in facing the Bucks or less confident?
I'm more confident in facing the Bucks because I believe the key thing is if we're able to contain Chris Middleton, if he comes up.
Tobe's got him.
Yeah, but Chris Middleton, there's no denying it. He's a weird all-star. He's been an all-star the last 2, maybe 3 seasons. He's a really good player. I've always been a big fan.
Two-face stud.
So, people just think, he's not an odd player. He's not a crazy highlight guy, but he's a good player. He hits big shots. If you're able to contain a guy like that, then we'll easily be able to beat him. Joel is going to go off, which is big because Brook Lopez has been playing really well, but he'll contain him easily. Yeah. A huge factor is what I keep saying is Drew Holiday is much better than Eric Bledsoe, and he's been playing really good, but they don't have Dante DiVincenzo, and that's really, really hurting their team. You can see it in the way they play.
I don't know if you got a chance to watch this game a little bit today, but Milwaukee had Giannis at the 5, and that gave the Brooklyn Nets problems. Giannis dropped 11 or 13 points when he was at the 5.
I said he dropped like 33 points in the first half. I don't know if that's true. I wasn't watching the game.
Giannis can't shoot. Giannis is nowhere near as good as a center as Embiid is. What do we think Embiid's going to do against these Nets, dude? If the Nets win.
Well, either way, Embiid, Nets, Bucks, he's dropping 40 points a game. No doubt they have no one that can really contain him whatsoever. The Nets, what are they going to put on him? Bruce Brown or Blake Griffin? He's going to drop 40. And, obviously Brook Lopez is a lot better than either of those guys, but he's still going to drop 40 easily. He's, the best center in the NBA by far and none. Obviously, you can make the argument for Jokic, but Embiid is dominant. He is a Shaq type player 20 years ago. He dominates in the paint. He's been shooting lights out from the mid range, and he's been shooting really well from three. It's going to be the other guys that need to step up in that series and provide. It's going to be those George Hills, those Matisse Thybulles, those Seth Currys that need to provide 10 to 12 points, those Shake Miltons. Those are the guys that win these playoff series. You expect the big games from the big studs. You know what I mean? Yeah. You expect a guy like Giannis to drop 40, Embiid 40, Toby 25, Drew Holiday 20. I mean, you expect those kind of games. It's the little guys. It's those kind of guys. Shake Milton the other night, coming in off the bench and providing that spark and driving us to that win in Game 2 over the Hawks, which game looked like we could have lost.
And it was Forkron in Game 3, dude.
It was definitely him. I'm a hater of him, but he stepped up.
He went 4 for 4 from the field. He dropped 11 points when he came off the bench the first time.
He had the hot hand. He was throwing up those heat checks and they were going in. I got no problem. If you're hot, feed the ball to the hot guy. If Fergan's making shots, give him the ball. It's the truth. I'm fine with it because if he's hot, you got to give it to him until he misses.
Like I said earlier, we never want to see anybody get hurt. That's not,
Yeah, we don't want to see that, but we don't mind it.
Kind of like the Hawks fans cheering when Embiid went down. That was ridiculous. Did you hear that?
Yeah, I mean, it's like it's like anything in sports. When Kevin Durant tore his Achilles and the Raptors fans screamed. Listen, it's not just Philly fans. All fans do bad things. It's the truth.
No, but like I said, to see Kyrie go down today, I'd much rather see him play than not.
Oh, I want to beat Kyrie in the Nets straight up. I want to beat them with all their stars healthy and all our stars healthy. But at the end of the day, Jim, there's 3 injury-prone guys on the Nets team. It's hard for them. It's hard for them to all be healthy. It's part of the game. Embiid's had his injuries. Simmons has had his injuries. It's part of the game. When you're grueling, when you're playing a game every other night, and it's the playoffs, and it's hard defense, and there's tougher fouls, there's bound to be an injury here and there.
Here's my point. I totally agree with you. There's going to be injuries. It's part of the game. You can't expect them. You can't control when they're going to happen. So they're part of the game. I totally understand that. But there's a lot of people around the world that believe Kevin Durant, i.e. you believe Kevin Durant is the best player on the planet, correct?
Yeah, bar none, he's the best player.
Okay. So what's going to happen when the best player on the planet loses to the Bucks this series? What's going to happen? Is he still the best player on the planet? Or do you start to agree with me that when LeBron doesn't have his co-stars, he can't beat a team? In fact, Milwaukee's not nearly as good as the Warriors, as the Suns. Who else? We could just rattle off these teams.
This has become one of those LeBron things you're trying to make it. And
no, I wouldn't.
At the end of the day, Jim. At the end of the day, Jim, the series is not over.
I'm just saying. I want this on camera. What is going to happen if Kevin Durant loses this series? Is he still the best player on the planet?
Yes, Kevin Durant is still the best player on the planet. I'll stick to it. I don't care.
See, when LeBron loses his teammates, it's why can't LeBron win by himself? But I want to see. I'm not down.
What bothered me, and listen, I'm not a LeBron guy, but I can agree about his greatness. I've said for the last couple of years, he is the second, if not the best player on and off by far. I'm not denying that. He's everywhere he goes, he wins. I thought they were going to go to the finals again this year, but what really bothered me, Jim, and I don't, you can agree with me being a huge LeBron guy, his effort in that last game was noticeably bad.
He was hurt.
And then I'm just saying, I'm going to talk about this for at least a year. The Goon Squad quotes at the end, I'm sorry. You're just a loser. You are a loser. You should be upset about losing.
I think Kevin Durant's going to ball out. I just think it's going to be extremely difficult because you don't have your offense. I mean, dude, James Harden and Kyrie Irving are top at their position, and there's no denying it. And it's hard when you lose that consistency, that chemistry. It's hard to be out there by yourself. I'm not saying that the Brooklyn Nets don't have good players around Kevin Durant. They do. Joe Harris.
They don't have good enough. They have good. I mean, Kevin Durant, he's really got to play well, but they don't have good enough. I mean, you're going to need. I mean, this is big because it takes a guy like Joe Harris, who's usually very open. He's not going to be as open.
Blake Griffin's going to have to step up.
Yeah, but Blake Griffin is not Blake Griffin of old. I know he's been playing of it, but he's starting to slow down, and they're starting to figure out. I think the biggest key is a guy by the name, we're all very familiar with it, is Landry Shamet. He's got to come off and he's got to play some really solid minutes. He's got to step up for that team to, pull out some wins. That's the guy. That's my key guy. Like I said, Shake Milton a couple weeks ago. Remember how that turned out? He won us game 2. Landry Shamit's the key to that team right now with those injuries. Landry Shamit, remember the name. Let's see if he steps up.
It's funny how, a couple of days ago, we thought, with the way the Nets were looking, we thought it was over. And it's crazy how quick a series can change, whether it's an injury or a play or.
They squeaked out a big game 3. They said we're not going away easy, and they were able to win today.
This is a series now. This is
a series that's looking a little bit scary for the Nets.
Let me ask you a quick question. If Milwaukee goes back to Brooklyn and they beat Brooklyn and they take the 3-2 series lead, right now, would it be 3-2? Yeah.
Yeah, it's 2-2 right now.
Yeah. If Milwaukee takes the 3-2 series lead, if you're the Brooklyn Nets, do you rush back James Harden to play?
Yes, he has to play. Because at the end of the day, Jim, and I think you'll agree with me, if they go down 3-2 and, depending on how that game goes.
Your season's on the line. Your season's on the line.
I think your season will be over because I think Milwaukee will first off have the advantage. They'll be coming home. And if Kyrie and Harden don't play, I just don't see them being able to win this game. Maybe Kevin Durant could pull it out. But, obviously the next game is the big game. I think whoever wins this next game will definitely win the series.
Yeah.
I think we could both agree on that. Next game is, I believe, will be the winner of the series.
I think Brooklyn has to win. I think they have to win.
Brooklyn has to win. It's a must win for Brooklyn. It's not as much of a win for Milwaukee.
I think if Milwaukee loses, they still have a little leeway. They still have a little wiggle room because you don't know with the injuries with the other players. You don't. Brooklyn has to win this game. You don't want to go down 3-2. Have to rush back your players. You want to be able to have that comfortability because if you win this game 6 or if you win this game 5, you're up 3-2. You may be able to rest Harden and Kyrie again because you're feeling confident that you could win that game 6.
Yeah, for sure. We'll see. If the Milwaukee picks up the win in game 5, I will promise you, James Harden or Kyrie Irving, one of them will be rushing back from injury to play in that game.
It's big. It's a huge game changer.
Love it for the Sixers. We need the Sixers to handle business tomorrow.
You want to touch on the Sixers real quick, or do you want to switch it over to the baseball diamond?
I say we get into the Sixers just because I think leading into that topic.
All right.
I want to say the Sixers absolutely have all the momentum in the world right now. Trae Young's been crying like a baby. Bogdanovich hasn't been playing well. The bench played really well last game. I think obviously I've been hearing some things. Everyone's really excited. Danny Green is hurt. It hurts not having Danny Green. I'm telling everybody, he is a gritty player. He's a veteran player. He's got 3 rings for a reason. Danny Green is a winner. He is a winner. It's going to hurt not having him around.
Is Matisse got to start tomorrow?
I believe he'll get the start tomorrow for sure. But still, man, this Hawks team is nothing to joke about, Jim. We need to win this game. I believe that this is a must win for the Sixers. I know that sounds crazy because we will finish them off at home. I want to finish them off at home. I want to win this game. I want to come back to Philly with all the momentum. We'll easily finish them off. Don't let the Hawks climb back into this thing. We should come out there tomorrow and absolutely demolish them from start to finish. We need a big game out of Simmons, Tobias. Need a big game out of Joel. Try to get up 20 points by the 4th quarter and get your starters out. Get them out.
Dude, Doc does not do that. Did you see Embiid flip over that defender?
We were together. I'm offended you're asking this question. We were next to each other.
No, I'm saying for the exaggeration of dude, why is he in the game? I kept scrolling through my Twitter feed. Everybody who I follow was tweeting the same exact thing. How idiotic could it be to put Embiid back in the game when you're up by that much? You don't need him. You don't need him.
It's it's a horrible move to say the least, Jim. I agree with you.
The season is over. There's no ends, ifs, or buts.
Especially with the guy that we can all agree we all love him, but an injury-prone guy.
The season's over. The season is over. The hopes of a championship, with the way the season's rolling right now, we have a legitimate shot. And
with injuries, we don't like injuries, but it's a point we have to make. With injuries to the Nets and how we've played against the Bucks over the last couple of years, we could be in the finals. And I also love us against a team like the Suns.
I love my team. Suns, Utah. I like how we stand. I like how we stack up. Those are the teams that come out.
Especially Utah. I would love us against Utah.
Oh, we've owned.
Yeah, I think that'd be a 4-0 sweep if we played Utah, honestly.
I don't think I know you're a little bit wary about the Hawks. I'm not nervous about them at all. I think it's going to be a gentleman's sweep.
I'm not nervous about them anymore. But I just don't want to see them. As long as you keep Trae Young, Ben Simmons on Trae Young, and you're able to get him all frustrated and he's screaming and whatever, and you can keep a guy like Gallinari and Bogdanovich down to like a 10, 15 point type night, not get them up to like 20 points.
Dude, is Bogdan a free agent?
No, they signed him pretty good.
I would love to have him on.
We actually, when he came in, I actually figured this out the other day. Did my research. See, doing research for the fans. He actually signed with Sacramento.
Work outside of our work.
Yeah, I'm doing work outside of work because that's I care. But he actually signed. The Sixers signed this, offered him the same exact deal as Sacramento. Signed him when he came into the NBA, but he chose to sign with Sacramento.
Mm.
The European players, they don't like the Sixers. I don't know what's up with that.
Dude, I mean, Bogdan on our team would be huge. Huge.
No, I think this season I think this offseason, I mean, whether we win or lose the title, we need to look to get a guy like, I say it all the time, would love to have my guy back on the team, Robert Covington. Would love to have him back on the team.
He's Asian now. He's Asian.
He's aging. He's aging, but we need a guy. We need to go out and get like a Norman Powell type guy. I'm just saying Robert Covington or a Jordan Clarkson type guy that would take this team to a whole nother level.
I think you need a two-way star.
So that's besides the point though. Another big thing is we want to get Capella and John Collins. I think he's a really solid player, but he is a foul machine. Get him into foul trouble early. Force the ball to whatever player is guarding him. Get him 2 quick fouls. Try to get Capella to 4 fouls within the either beginning or mid of the third quarter, and just have him keep dominating. We want to get those 2 guys. I think they're the key. Get them into a little bit of foul trouble, and I think we'll easily win. I think we should be forcing the ball to Joel. He should be pump thinking like crazy. Get Capella off his feet. Do the bump, the Dwayne Wade jump and bump into him type thing. Get some fouls early. Get John Collins out of the game. Make Gallinari play more minutes. I think Gallinari's a great player. But I think it's kind of like the less minutes, the better for him in a way. Like I think if he's out there for like a whole quarter, he's not as effective as being out there for like the beginning 5 or the last 5. So
quick spurts.
Yeah. So get the Hawks into foul trouble. They tend to foul a lot. And just don't get Trae Young going. Keep him frustrated. He's really frustrated. He's forcing up shots. He's been shooting really bad. He's been playing pretty bad in the series so far. Besides game 1, he's been playing really bad. Ben Simmons is clearly locking him up, and same with Matisse. Even though there's been some horrible foul calls, Matisse has been locking him up. Keep it on them. We should easily win game 3 tomorrow if they play the right way and if they get those guys into foul trouble. And I agree, they'll easily able to finish them off the game 4 and start getting ready for possibly the Bucks and really follow out that series. But we want to finish the series early. All I want to say is that we just don't want this series to go any further than I believe. We should beat them in 5 now. We don't want them to go 6. I'm really begging for this team. We need to beat them now, so we beat them at home.
You got to get as much rest as possible for your best players. For your
Embiid's still playing injured. The more rest, the better. You get to sit down as a team, and it's not like.
I mean, with those injuries, he'll be playing injured for the rest of the season.
I mean, and what happens when these teams aren't. They're not sitting at home and watching. The Bucks game. They're all together at the team, probably at the facility after a practice, watching and going over seeing what kind of matches they could have. They're going to be watching the Bucks games. If we can get out of this series early, that's huge. And if the Bucks, that series goes 6-7 games, well, obviously it's going 6 no matter what. But, if this Bucks series goes 7 games, they'll be able to sit down and watch it. It's a big advantage. Get some rest and study.
I do think the Sixers are going to win tomorrow, but I don't think they're going to win as convincingly as they did the other night. I think that it's going to be a close game tomorrow because, listen, they are in Atlanta still. The Hawks have to give it their all because if the Hawks go down 3-1 against this Sixers team, it's over.
It's over.
I think the Hawks come out strong.
It's a must win for the Hawks, absolutely, tomorrow night.
Yeah.
It's a must
win. I think the Hawks will come out strong. I think they'll give the Sixers a run for their money, but I don't see the Sixers losing this game. I think the Sixers win by 10. And
it's like the point I made to you before. I was at the Sixers game too, coming off a heartbreaking bad loss. The stadium was rocking like crazy. No one was in. I can't really remember a time when I was really sitting down for more than 2 seconds and screaming. I mean, obviously, I'm a crazy fan, but
were you sitting down when you were trying to hide from that couple getting ready to fight themselves? Or?
No, I was taking bows for sure, but I just fought through it. I took a bow to the liver from the girl. It was hard. She was skinny, but I took one. But I gutted it through because I'm a game time performer.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't imagine what the stadium is going to be like on a game 5 potential to go to the conference finals.
Gentlemen sweep. Nah, I'm very excited to see these guys. Dude, I love watching Embiid play. Dude, that dunk by Embiid off the Simmons hoop was awesome. That was awesome.
I absolutely love this team. I love the way Tobias Harris has been playing. No one's really been talking about that too much. He's been absolutely killing it. He's been providing that scoring. He's been a guy you could give the ball to and get a bucket out of. He's been drawing fouls. He's been playing good defense. This team is really coming along. I'm not saying, listen, people have been giving me a lot of crap for what I said about how I don't think they beat the Nets. I'm just calling it how it is, a healthy Nets team. I don't think we're fully ready for the way the bench is playing. But, man, I'm feeling really, really, really good about the Sixers spot right now. Let's get a big win tomorrow, and let's finish them off at home, get some rest, and get ready for the Nets or the Bucks.
Gotta keep it rolling. That's it. Gotta keep
Also,
it
home court advantage. Home court advantage. Home court advantage. I want to say in the next round, obviously big.
Yeah, gotta keep stacking these wins. I like the way Ben Simmons played in Game 3. That's what he needs to do. I mean, when he came out in that third quarter, my man was aggressive, and the Hawks didn't have an answer for him. Dude, I don't care if he runs to the lane every single time and tries to go for a dunk or a reverse layup.
Like, I agree with you. I agree exactly where you're going.
You need that speed because
Ben Simmons is a confidence player.
Yeah.
When he's confident, he's unbelievable. When he's not that confident, he's just okay.
Yeah. So gotta keep stacking these wins up because it's good. It's a good sight to see for us Philly fans. Hopefully, we can just maintain that level. Talking about a team that has been rolling and stacking wins
That's right, baby. That's right, baby.
Right here.
Come on now.
Right here. The Philadelphia Phillies have won their last 3 series in a row now. I mean, dude.
Listen, we talked about this. Sorry to interrupt you. We talked about this before, and I said the thing the Phillies needed, they needed to go on a win 8 out of 10 games, and they need to go on one of those crazy streaks, get above 500 and keep it up. And I got to give it to them. That's exactly what they're doing right now.
They now are currently above 500. They're 32-31. I know it's not the record we've all been hoping for at this point in the season.
Tight. The division is tight.
But when you given all the injuries that we've had so far to Gregorius, Realmuto, Harper, back into the bullpen, Archie Bradley, Alvarado has gone down. It's pretty positive when you look that we're still above 500. We're right there in the division. I think if you get a couple wins now and keep them rolling off the momentum that we just gained against the Yankees, just want to throw this out there. The New York Yankees are awful. They are terrible. I don't want to hear
so bad. And you know what's a shame? No one's here to defend them.
No. And no one's here to defend them tonight. So we're not going to talk bad about them tonight. But tomorrow night, I want you guys to pay attention. We are bringing someone onto the show, and he's going to get ruined.
Yeah, it's going to be ugly to say the least.
In the battle of New York versus Philly, he's going to get.
Should we go get our brooms? Real quick?
It's going to be bad. But, dude, I mean, I'll say this. In order for the Philadelphia Phillies to be a contender, which that offense is great. I've liked that. I've liked them from day one. They're solid offense, 1 through 8. They're interchangeable. You can move them around. But Bryce, they got to get a reliever. They're not going to win if Girardi doesn't have a go-to guy. They're in trouble.
No, yeah, I agree. We definitely need to find a reliever for sure, and I'm sure there's going to be a couple good teams that we can get them from. I know there's a couple guys. I know the Nationals aren't playing too well right now. I don't know how they feel about trading with a, interdivision type.
Yeah, maybe could you get like a Doolittle out of their bullpen?
Well, Doolittle, I don't know if he still plays for them. Does he?
I thought he resigned. I don't know. Maybe.
I don't know. Yeah, but that's who I was thinking of too. And then I kind of thought about it. I'm not positive. I think he might still be there, but they obviously have great root.
How are the Cubs doing this year? Because I have a name.
They've been good, and I've also heard some links around Craig Kimbrell. I know who you're coming up with, right?
Bryce, we need him. That is a perfect fit out of the bullpen.
Yes, that would be. He's actually perfect. I know from this season so far.
Because here's what you do: you get Craig Kimbrell. You bump everybody back down. Then you get Hector Neris at the 8 spot, the bridge. Then you put Archie Bradley at 7, 8, 9 right there. Because in the playoffs, you only need 3 good pitchers, really. You only need 3. I mean, we'll have Wheeler, Nola, and Eflin, and that there.
I was actually having this conversation. I wanted to bring it up real quick with a beloved Yankees fan, Mr. Regabudo, legend. I was talking to him.
Oops, sorry to cut you off real quick.
Oh,
Cubs are good.
no, I know the Cubs are good, but I actually saw some trades that they are willing to trade. I saw.
I think we should swing Kimbrel. That'd be big.
Yeah, I would definitely think. I definitely think so. I also I want to bring up had a conversation with Mr. Regabudo, huge Yankees fan, huge baseball guy, and we both talked about it. I said it makes no sense. The Phillies, if you look at their team, yes, the bullpen isn't great, and the starting rotation is probably below average, but the team in itself is very, very good, and they should be winning. And we both talked about it, and I said I think they'll end up getting a little bit hot right here as they are right now, and I think another key piece I want to say, no one's talking about it. Zach Wheeler.
Still had 12 Ks the other day. 12 Ks yesterday.
8 innings, no runs.
Dude, that was a huge signing.
I mean, everyone wants to talk about DeGrom as they should. He is unbelievable, DeGrom. And Garrett Cole is also great. But Zach Wheeler, I'm telling everybody, where do you rank? I don't see him too much further behind those guys. I really don't. I mean, his record doesn't show how good he's been. He's similar to DeGrom. DeGrom has 2 losses. DeGrom should be perfect if it wasn't for the Mets that never provide runs. But to me, Zach Wheeler is like the same thing. His record doesn't show how good he's been. He's been great virtually every single start this season, besides maybe the second start.
I think Wheeler's got a long way to go to DeGrom's level. I mean, DeGrom.
No.
That guy's throwing wiffle balls up there. But I know what
I'm saying DeGrom's on another level, but how far behind the second, third guy is he? Honestly,
no. I agree with you in terms of the significance, value to the team. He's up there. I think he's our number one. I don't think it's Nola anymore.
I agree. He should definitely be our number one. I think after the All-Star game, they should switch rotations. I think Nola would be possibly the best number 2 guy in the league.
To me, there's a top tier, and it's just absolutely elite status. I would do Trevor Bauer out of Los Angeles, Garrett Cole, New York, and DeGrom on the Mets. Tier 2, I do think Wheeler is getting up into that tier 2. I think
he's flirting with 2. He's definitely at 3, and he's flirting with 2. He is flirting with 2.
So
he's climbing up.
He's having a very solid year. Does he get the All-Star vote?
Yes, he's our All-Star this year, no doubt. I think we'd have actually a couple of All-Stars if it wasn't for injuries. As you see, a key factor, and I said this before, I don't know if in the podcast, but having JT back on the team is huge. He's been playing. He's been playing so. And it also helps because Andrew Knapp is.
He's been hitting okay. He's been hitting okay.
No, he's been hitting pretty well. I mean, he drives and runs. He hits well with guys on base.
Yeah. For me, a positive sign was the way Harper's been hitting. 3 for 5 yesterday. He had another hit again today. I was getting nervous a little bit after he came back from the DL. I thought he might have been definitely.
I think that getting hit in the face obviously is a huge effect. You're never going to step up. I get he didn't get too hurt, but you're never going to step up to the box and not be a little bit nervous after getting hit in the face. It's
a back issue again, and I thought he was going to be down for a little bit longer. But dude, he's not even the best player on the team right now. You want to talk about who the best player on the team is?
Say it with me.
Jean Segura.
Jean Segura. There we go, Jim. Yes, absolutely.
I might get a jersey. He deserves a nod at the All-Star game.
He 1,000% deserves to be in the All-Star game. The issue is he's not a big name guy. But the All-Star game also isn't about being a big name guy. Anybody, there's always.
Dude, listen to this.
The Phillies are good enough, though. The Phillies are good enough not to just have one All-Star. I think Zach Wheeler and Jean Segura, 1,000%. As of now, I think there would have been other All-Stars. I think Harper definitely would have been an All-Star. JT definitely would have been an All-Star. But for sure, Jean Segura and Zach Wheeler, not trying to be biased. If I'm an MLB guy and I just happen to watch all these games and stuff, 1,000% are All-Stars this season.
The All-Star week is like July 12th to the 14th or 13th to the 15th. But we're 1 month away. I do think if the Phillies really stack together the wins, pile them up, they have a legitimate shot of getting 3, maybe 4 guys to the All-Star game. I do.
Yeah, no, I agree. I 1,000% agree. And anybody non-biased, obviously we're Phillies fans. People are going to say, look at this team. You look at this team. We're a very, very good team. From the top to the bottom in our lineup, they're all very solid players.
McCutcheon's been playing. Gotta get the bullpen right.
McCutcheon's been playing a lot better. I know his average isn't great, but he's been playing a lot better.
2-run double today.
Yeah, Didi Gregorius got a couple. I know he played a couple games in AAA. He had 2 home runs. He had a throw. an outfield assist or infield assist. I don't know what
We need him back
count
in the
that as.
lineup. We need his lefty bat back.
Also,
I
probably
do like the way
the
Ronald.
best,
Okay.
and also he's also the best player like ever with guys on base. I don't know what it
Didi?
is, but
No,
yeah,
Didi with the bases loaded is better than Babe Ruth.
he's the best ever he's the best ever with bases loaded ever, like of all time. Like actually, like
He's got a greater chance of hitting a grand slam with the bases loaded than striking out with the bases loaded.
yeah, I mean he's a legend. I mean, there's not a single team he hasn't played for where the fans didn't love him. I know
Now,
the Yankees fans are still sick about not having him.
listen to this stat about Gene Segura, dude, just to give you an idea of how well this guy's been playing recently. He's the first Philly since Chase Utley with 3 straight 3-hit games.
Right, Jim. We agreed that Chase Utley would just be called Chase Utley the GOAT. We don't leave that out. That's a slip up. Sorry about that, guys. He slipped up there.
My apologies. That was like the second episode. Yeah, Gene Segura is on GOAT status right now. 3 straight 3-hit games at Citizens Bank Park. Dude, this guy gets a hit almost every other at bat.
Back-to-back walk-offs.
I know. Dude, and I love the way Girardi switched that lineup around. Can we talk about how good Odubel Herrera's been since he's been entered in the lineup?
I said this from the first episode. Should I go get my Odubel All-Star shirt? Should I get it in the closet? Because it's in.
We talked about once that guy came up, he wasn't leaving the lineup, and he hasn't.
I told you that, first off, we've all been around Roman Quinn. Yeah, good locker room guy. He's good to have on the bench to pinch run for, but he can't be in the lineup. Adam Hazley obviously is not the guy. And listen, Scott Kingery definitely isn't. Odubel deserved a shot. He was the superstar of a horrible team and
for years.
3 years. I watched the Phillies baseball because I liked watching him. And you know what? He's not that old either. I think he's only 28, 29 years old. I still see him being on the Phillies for a couple of years. He filled that center fielder, he filled that role that we needed to have filled. He could definitely, and he hits well. And I think he's changed his attitude around too. He hustles out he hustles out to first on those ground outs. He, is less of a talker. His bat flipping is still there, but that's never going to change. But
he did a bat flip today and he hit the wall. He thought he had a home run. He bat flipped and he hit the wall, got a double, but still.
Yeah, but still, I mean, Roman Quinn, it's a miracle if he even hits the ball. So,
what was the stat? 0 for 19, 0 for 20 to start the year?
Yeah.
Or something?
He's just a really bad player. I mean, there's no jokes about it. I like Roman Quinn. He's just a bad player.
I'm saying as collectively, like all 3 center fielders went like 0 for 29 or something.
Yeah, we thought Scott Kingery could figure it out. No, we thought Adam Hazley could figure it out. It was a no, and we went to the last option. And we didn't want to give the guy. I guess they really didn't want to give the guy a chance. But man, has he lived up to it? He deserves to be in the MLB. I'm happy he's back, and he's not playing like an all-star, but he's playing very, very, very well.
I absolutely love the way that Girardi shook up this lineup. I like Herrera at the 1 hole. You follow it up with Segura. At the 2 spot, you got to have a contact hitter, someone who always puts the
I was going to say those are two guys that, first off, pitchers, it's like similar to Juan Soto. Juan Soto's very annoying when he's in the batter box. Like he does that Soto shuffle where like he grabs his crotch when they throw a ball. I know Odubel Herrera for years is similar like that. He actually he takes the longest to get in the batter's box. And I know this is like, it's funny and all that, but it's mind games out there. I know I listen all the time. Pitchers, everything is a mind game out there. And if you're able to get them off their game, especially the first batter of the game, that's big. And I think Odubel does that. He shakes them up a little bit. He rattles their cage. And Gene Segura is a contact hitter. He's not a home run guy. He's got power to be. Don't get me wrong. He hits home runs here and there. He's got the power. I've seen him hit 400 plus home runs, but he gets on base. And then you get a guy like Harper or Reese or Remuto, how he has the lineup in, and you get a little bit of power in that bet. This is the lineup that needs to be in.
No, right now he's got the lineup. He's got Odubel at 1. He's got Segura at 2, followed by Real Muto. He's got Harper at the cleanup spot. Then he's got Hoskins, McCutchen, Bohm, Ronald Torres, pitcher. Now,
Torres has also played really well.
If we didn't have Didi Gregorius, then he'd be playing. But we have Didi coming back, so he's not going to play over Didi. But Bohm, moving him from the 5 hole now down to 7, I think it's given Bohm a chance to step back, relax, step in there, and focus on his bats. Now he's batting this last couple of games. He's batting over 300. He's got a couple RBIs, a couple homers. And now he's pushing the ball at the opposite field like what he was doing last year when he was a Rookie of the Year candidate.
Listen, there's no denying it, and fans have talked about it, and everyone's talked about it. Everybody knows how good Alec Boone is at baseball. Everyone knows that he is the next maybe top three guy, like with those guys with the new upcoming class. Not like Fernando Tatis or anything like that, but he's a very very good player. He's a great fielder, but
He's an off fielder.
I mean, not an awful fielder.
Yeah.
I meant not a good fielder. He's not
He's
not. I meant to say he's not a bad hitter, but he's playing like a bad hitter.
Yeah.
That's what I meant to say. My apologies. He's definitely not a good fielder.
No,
Yeah, that was bad. I was not thinking there. My bad. He's definitely not a good fielder.
I just want to catch you. You're good.
Yeah, you could. Thank you for catching me. Sometimes I make mistakes out here. He's not. He's a good hitter, but he's been playing like a bad hitter, and that's what's been killing us. I watched another video that said most disappointing players from each team, and they said it's not like he's been having a god awful season, but he's much better than what he's playing at. And I think I agree with you. If you can bring him down a little bit in the lineup, let him come alive, and then maybe possibly bring him back up a little bit in the lineup, I like that a lot. And it's time for him to step up 1,000%. He's not. We're not sending him back down to AAA or anything like that, but he needs to play better.
I like the way the lineup's constructed right now, and I wouldn't make any changes because we're winning. And if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But Hoskins cannot be at the 5-hole. He can't be batting after Harper because in that situation, there's no pitcher that's afraid to throw to Harper when you have Hoskins behind him. If you have a guy like McCutchen or Bohm who have been hitting the ball well, they have to pitch to Harper because they don't want to face Bohm or McCutchen.
I think we can agree. Reese plays much, 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 much better and is able to hit the ball a lot better because when he is batting in front of Harper, I mean, over the last 3 seasons, he's been better hitting the ball wise. He's hit a lot more home runs because pitchers don't want to walk him to get bases. It's the truth. People are more focused. It's like anything in life. When you know you're playing against LeBron James, you're not as worried about KCP hitting a 3-pointer. And that's kind of what it's like a similarity, kind of how I want to compare it. Obviously, 2 very different sports, hard to compare, but you're not really worried about a guy like Reese Hoskins when you got a guy like Harper that's right behind him.
No, it's like in football when you have a very good quarterback. If you don't have a good wide receiver, you're not worried about that very good quarterback throwing to a wide receiver that's not good because the quarterback's going to struggle. You know what I mean? You're not worried about
Mitch Trubisky to Allen Robinson. Not that worried about
it. Yeah, you're not worried about Harper doing any damage when he's got no one behind him. I know for years, back when the Phillies had their run from 2007 to 2012,
best time of our lives.
Our big thing when Burrow left, the legendary moments.
Yeah.
Prime. It was our prime. It was our
absolute prime for our lives. No whatsoever.
But when you lose a guy like Pat Burrell, who was behind Howard, or you lose a guy like Jason Worth, who was behind Howard for a couple of years, we had Ibanez filled it in 2009, but then a couple of years later, we didn't.
Placido Polanco.
He sucked with us.
He had his moments.
We had a hole in that 5-hole until we got Hunter Pence, and we thought Hunter Pence was going to be that guy, but he wasn't. We had to ship him back out to San Francisco.
Well, he hated Philly.
Yeah, and it just didn't work. But you need that guy behind your best hitter. You're not your best hitter. Your most powerful hitter, the guy you look to clean up all the runs and get the RBIs. But I do like the way it's constructed. Herrera gets on base, Segura gets on base, and we know how Realmuto is with the bat. You put runners on at all times with Harper, and Harper's great when runners in scoring position. He just is. Do you see the Yankees in the playoffs this year?
No chance.
They got a tough division, dude.
No chance. The Rays, man, they're like the A's. They're just so good, and whoever's the GM over there, whatever he's doing, man, that guy deserves a raise. He's excellent. And also, I want to say, I wasn't expecting it, and I don't think anybody was, but the Boston Red Sox are playing absolutely unbelievable baseball right now.
The Rays GM, I think, is Shane Bloom, but let me check.
Well, he is a genius.
Oh, he's awesome.
They should keep him around.
Maybe that's Eric Neander. Shane Bloom's with the Red Sox now, and they're having a great year.
Yeah, but I mean,
with having no talent, they outside of JD Martinez, they don't have standout guys. Xander Bogaerts, he's standout.
No, Xander Bogaerts is playing unreal. He's like
but I mean, outside of those two.
Yeah, I agree. Alex Verdugo's good, and their pitching's been really good. But I'm looking at the records now. The Rays are 42-24. And the Red Sox are 36-27. The Blue Jays are 33-30, and the Yankees are 33-32. They're 8.5 games back. And obviously, the Orioles are just not like a team. But
dude, the Blue Jays, man, great young talent.
Yeah, I'm a big. I bought a lot of stock let's just say, like, if that was a thing, I had all my stock about 2 years ago in Vladimir Guerrero Jr., and he's absolutely living up to it. Like, I pushed all in on him. I thought he was going to be a stud, and he's absolutely lived up to it. I mean, the guy crushes the baseball.
In the last 3 games, the Blue Jays hitters have accounted for 15 earned runs against the Boston Red Sox starters.
Yeah,
Listen to this. Philadelphia Phillies legend Nick Pivetta gave up 4 of 5 home runs the Jays hit in Saturday's 7-2 victory.
I know you laugh though, but he's playing really good this season.
Who? Not Nick Pivetta.
Yeah, he's playing really decent.
He gave up 4 home runs yesterday.
Yeah, I know. I mean, obviously a bad start, but I mean, I actually I saw most surprising players on each team. Nick Pivetta was the one for the Red Sox.
Really?
Yes.
Let's check it. Oh, his ERA is iffy, but he's got 6 wins this year.
Yeah, but coming off, obviously, he played horrible in the last game. His ERA is obviously going to be terrible after a game like that. But to be fair, Jim, I mean, I don't remember like even him ever winning a game for the Phillies.
He's got 80 strikeouts to 33 base on balls, walks. No, I mean, he's all right. He's not a top of the end guy, but
Oh no, he's not good. But I mean, we traded him for nothing, and now none of those guys that we traded him for are on our team. We traded him for like Brandon Workman, who's not even in the league. I don't think so. I don't know. I'll give them credit where it's due. Better trade for them. But yeah, I don't see the Yankees making the playoffs. And I mean, I think that means Aaron Boone will be gone.
you want to talk about big threes in basketball? These Blue Jays have a big 3 in Guerrero, Biggio, and Bichette.
Well, you know what else I want to say? They have like 2 of the top prospects like in the MLB. They got some guy named Curtis Martin.
Okay.
I know he's top, and they got another guy named Nate Peterson who's a pitcher or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
They're like some of the top. I don't know what it is with the Blue Jays, but they've got like a lot of young talent. And
Dude, oh man, the Blue Jays, man, they grow talent, like you just said. I mean, they have a great culture. Guerrero Jr. in the last 3 games has homered. And in the last 2 games, Biggio and Bichette have also homered. I mean, these guys are catching fire at the right time. 33 and 30 on the year, and they're better than the Yankees right now. I would take them over the Yankees.
they have sorry to be off topic. Nate Pearson, a right-handed pitcher, is the 10th best prospect in baseball for the Blue Jays, and they have Austin Martin, who's a shortstop / outfielder. They're probably going to try to force him to be an outfielder with Bo Bichette as the 17th best prospect in baseball. So just pointing those out there. Kind of crazy if you think about it, you know.
It's gonna be interesting. Dude, right around the trade deadline, right around July 4th, baseball really starts to heat up because you get a little bit of trades, and then teams really start to put together their lineups. You start to see how teams are going to shape up for their postseason runs. I think it's gonna be very interesting. I love the way the Phillies are catching fire. I think it's at the right time because the other teams around the National League are struggling. And I don't know. I mean, I think you give Chicago a call and try to get Krimble, or you call for a reliever like Doolittle. Somebody. You got to get somebody in that bullpen.
The issue is though, is that what scares me is the Phillies don't have much to trade.
Hoskins. I would get rid of Hoskins in a heartbeat.
Oh, now you're off him.
I never said keep him. I've agreed with you after his home run spurt that he had.
Yeah, he's done. He does this every year.
No, I've never been on him. I've said that he has played to stay in the lineup. He hasn't worked his way out of the lineup yet. He hasn't. I mean, he's still batting. I think he's only batting like 250, which is not good, but he stepped up this year. Home runs, he's got a lot of home runs this year. His fielding is awful. But if I was the Phillies, I've said this for a little bit, I would trade Hoskins to see what you can get for him. I would move Bohm to first base. And I would try to get a guy. In the beginning of the year, when we still didn't sign Gregorius, the Phillies were looking at Trevor Story.
The thing about Trevor Story is he's locked up to go to the Yankees. I think they're going to trade something of Gleyber Torres, and I heard that the Rockies aren't interested in Gleyber Torres, so I'm sure. I mean, he'll definitely be a part of that trade if it happens, but it's going to be a lot of prospects. Obviously, a guy like Jason Dominguez. I don't know if you know him. He's definitely not going to get traded, but. Trevor Story announced though recently, within this last week, that he is not re-signing with the Rockies. So the Rockies are definitely,
I wouldn't either. Rockies are.
Yeah, but that's obviously big because it kind of sends his trade value down a little bit because the Rockies are going to have to like get rid of him because if not, they're going to end up getting rid of him for nothing. They don't want to seem like the Nationals with Harper where they thought they could re-sign him and then he ends up leaving and they get nothing for one of the best players in baseball. So yeah, they're definitely going to trade Story. Will they get as much as they normally should get for him? No, but whatever team gets Story, they're going to have to prepare to open up the checkbook. And the Yankees are the type of team that has no problem doing that.
So I sent this to my phone the other day because I wanted to give you this trade proposal, which I thought was interesting. Joe Giglio of Philadelphia Sports Radio proposed this trade before the series started. So I'd be interested to see what his outlook on the trade would be after the series. But his trade offer is the Yankees get Rhys Hoskins, Didi Gregorius, and Aaron Nola. I didn't like this trade. I didn't.
I can tell you right now, whatever you tell me, it's not going to happen.
I know. We get Gleyber Torres.
No.
Clint Frazier.
No.
And Devi Garcia, who's supposedly like their top pitching prospect now.
I would do it for Jason Dominguez.
I wasn't going to do the trade because I still have faith in Nola being a 2. I mean, dude, he pitched awesome today.
I wouldn't do it, obviously. I mean, Nola's great. Not great. Nola's good. I'm always for getting rid of Rhys. You know that.
I think a change of scenery for Torres and Frazier could help them. It could.
Yeah, I agree. But
they were top prospects coming in. They were.
Yeah,
they were good.
They're definitely, and they're still pretty young. I don't know about Clint Frazier, but I know Gregorius can't be older than, or Torres can't be older than 20, 23, 24 years old. But I think another thing is we still have our top prospect besides Mark Appel is Bryson Scott. And he's, I think, want to say 23 years old. How much longer do you keep him in the minors for?
I think Gregorius is a stopgap at shortstop, and then you bring him up.
Yeah, but I don't want, I want to see these guys get up before they're 25 years old. I think that's what a mistake on the team. I think you want to get a guy in the MLB at like 22, 23 years old. He can get those year or two to kind of get adjusted to the game. Obviously, the major leagues is a lot harder than AAA, but
I know, but then you don't want to have like a Scott Kingery where we brought him up a little bit too early and now he's struggling.
Good point.
I agree. You got to get them experience first because I think that does help players more. Like I know never comparing anybody to the level of Mike Trout. I'm never doing that. But Mike Trout came up for a little bit, really struggled, went back down to the minor leagues, got his feet set underneath him. He came back and it was just game over.
Confirmed. Jimmy Crowder believes Bryson Scott is the next Mike Trout. That's what I heard out of that. Scott Kingery. I get to say Scott Kingery. Jim thinks Scott Kingery is the next Mike Trout. Confirmed.
Got to get your feet wet with these players, but you don't want to rush them because.
No, like that's why I agreed. I love the move of bringing up Moniak this season, getting him a couple at bats, and then sending them back down. But Moniak, I think we all can agree. I just don't think the MLB.
He's our age. He's 22.
I agree, but he's been in the minors for 6 years, Jim.
Dude, he's 22. He's got Aaron Judge came up at 26 years old. He's got plenty of time.
I agree. But I want to see. It's just so big, man. If he turned out to be like an absolute stud,
like a Harper.
If he turned out like just to be a stud, oh my God, this team would be insane. But all right, I still have a little bit of faith in you, Moniak. Clean it up. Let's get it going.
He did put on a lot of weight this year, so he got bigger. I think he's trying.
Yeah, he's trying. The Phillies, the issue is what scares me, Jim, and I think you can agree. We have, if not the worst, one of the worst prospects, like
farm systems.
Thank you for picking me up right there. Farm systems in baseball, there's no doubt. I just looked. I told you the Blue Jays actually have like 5 or 6 guys in the top 100. The Mariners got like 5 guys, 6 guys in the top 100. Boston's got a couple. The
Sox are good.
Royals got a couple. Pirates got a little bit in there. Marlins got a lot in there. Detroit, but we have I don't even think we have one guy in the top 100, Jim. It's
not going to get better with Dombrowski being your general manager because he ships out prospects for players any day of the week. I think the Phillies have to make a decision. You got to look. It's hard right now. You're not early in the season, but you're not there at the trade deadline yet. So, but when that trade deadline comes, whatever our record is, Dombrowski's got to make a decision, buyers or sellers. And when I mean buy, go out and get a guy that's going to help you contend. And when I say sell, I would get rid of everybody because you can't keep wasting these years for Harper. You know what I mean?
I
Like,
agree.
I mean, he's 3 years, no playoffs yet. That would be bad. So,
The issue is though, is we have such a weak farm system now. You can't really afford to give too much of it up.
well, that's why I'm saying it's such a crucial trade deadline this year. If the Phillies are sitting at a 500 level or 500 record come July 4th, I would sell because
Yes.
that's a clear indication that you're not going to win the World Series. You're not.
And
Now,
when I mean sell, I mean, the
if,
issue is
if they
if they don't make the playoffs this year, I don't see Bryce Harper wanting to stay.
dude, he's got 330 million reasons why he's going to stay.
But come on, Jim. There's plenty of people that would pay him that much money. That contract doesn't even look that crazy now. The way Francisco Lindor is a $400 million man, and he's playing horrible.
Yeah, but he's not going to leave New York.
No, I know. I'm just saying. I
No,
think
I'm
Harper
saying
loves Philly, but he can only love him so much.
he won't leave. He spent 7 years with the Nationals just to leave and then watch them win the World Series. But I know what you're saying. He'll get frustrated if they don't win. That's why I'm saying you got to make a decision because you can't just keep wasting years of his prime. You can't just keep wasting years of Real Muto's prime and not win with these guys. So I think come July 4th, if you're 10 games over 500, I think you go out and make a big trade. You got to go get somebody that could help you continue that success. If not, dude, I would get rid of everybody, not this year, but I'm saying either at the trade deadline or in the offseason, get rid of everybody not named Wheeler, Real Muto, and Harper.
I agree.
I would get rid of Gregorius. I would get rid of McCutcheon. I would get rid of Hoskins, Neris, Nola, everybody not named Wheeler, Real Muto, or Harper because
I don't think they'd give up Boone.
Boom. I would keep Boom. I forgot about Boom.
I was gonna say I don't think I'd give him up.
Good point. I totally forgot about him. But everybody not named those guys, get rid of them because
Odubel?
I would get rid of them.
No, I don't.
I love Odubel, but dude, if you try trading these guys, yes, some of them are getting hot, but the only players that you can really probably get value for is Nola, Herrera, and Segura. Because those guys are the only ones who really have had.
If we're selling, we should trade Segura at the deadline because the season he's having, we could get a significant amount of prospects for him, no doubt.
Yep. It's a shame. I really hope, dude, fingers crossed. I like this team a lot, 1 through 8.
No, I want to see him win. Him win, but if they can't, you got to go to the future.
Dombrowski's got to get a reliever. I want Kimbrel bad.
I want Kimbrel bad too, but it might take a Bryson Scott. It might take.
Would you rather have a ring? Like, I'm not saying they would win, but they'd have a better chance at a ring. Would you rather have a ring or Bryson Stott?
I'd rather have a ring, but I don't think Craig Kimbrel takes us to a ring. Maybe he does.
I think you get a bona fide closer, someone he won a World Series with the Red Sox, so he's been there.
No, he's been good at everywhere he's been.
You get him at 9, you move Neris down, and you move Bradley down. That's set. That's a set bullpen.
Yeah, Neris has been playing well. Archie Bradley's really solid.
Neris struggled. He let that 3-run home run to DJ yesterday, but I don't think he's our closer. I think you got to move him to 8.
No, I agree. I mean, I think Neris is solid though. I think people really get on him because
he's got bad days, yeah, but he's good.
Bad days, but I definitely think he's good. I think Archie Bradley's really solid.
I love Archie Bradley, and he's starting.
I really like Alvarado too. I do. I mean,
I like him. I liked him in the beginning of the year. He's just so inconsistent, dude.
Oh my god, yeah, it's crazy. But he throws 100 miles per hour pretty consistently.
It's potential.
Yeah, he's still a younger guy. He's not too old.
All right, yeah. Let me see real quick before we sign off here who these Phillies have up next. You know who the Phillies play next?
I knew. I think they might have the Braves coming up again. Not maybe this series.
Sure.
Maybe not this series, but I think.
Oh, Dodgers.
Oh yeah,
they fly out to LA June 15th, Tuesday, 10:10 p.m.
Yeah, Spencer Howard's on the mound.
He's gonna get rocked
against Tony Goslin. He's 0-0, got a 5.4.
The Dodgers are awesome though.
Spencer Howard's another guy, only 24 years old. You know, this is his first season in the majors. If he can, get going a little bit, you never know, Jim.
Dodgers are good, dude.
I know this is going to be a good. This is going to be a big test for them. I'm just
This is
saying.
this is a measuring stick. This is where you see where you're at.
Yeah, I want to see it. I'm excited actually. I think tomorrow's going to be a good watch. You got a guy like Spencer Howard on the mound, not against like a
Tuesday.
Trevor.
They play Tuesday.
My apologies.
No, you're good.
My apologies. Wait, no, they play tomorrow, Monday. They play tomorrow night, Monday night.
I got Tuesday, June 15th.
I got 6:14 at 10 p.m. Spencer Howard.
Oh, you tomorrow night? Yeah, you're right. Damn, they're flying out to LA today.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough one tomorrow.
That's hard. Maybe Bryce's best bets. You might have to put on the Dodgers.
Never, ever against my home squad. Never bet
No,
against.
but dude, making money.
There's been plenty of times where I've wanted to do it, but I just don't. We need a big win out of a former Philly tomorrow. We need a big win out of Jake Arrieta.
My God, where is he pitching?
The Cubs. He's doing horrible there because he's just not a good pitcher. 5-6 with a 4.97 ERA.
We literally should have just burned that $75 million that we gave him.
Yeah, but I get why we signed him because he was an exciting guy at the time, and the Phillies had no excitement going on. And it's not like the Phillies couldn't afford giving up $75 million because they hadn't signed a free agent. But he was horrible, to say the least. His tender was terrible.
I can't believe we had Jake Arrieta. He did nothing with us.
Yeah, 3 years of literally terrible baseball. But you know what? It's over now. Thank God. Remember how much we hated on him? Oh my God. Could you imagine? If you guys think we hate Rhys Hoskins, you don't even know. You don't even know how much we hated Jake Arrieta.
Who had a worse career with the Philadelphia teams? Sam Bradford for the Eagles or Jake Arrieta with the Phillies?
Jake Arrieta, not even close. Sam Bradford was not that bad. He was not that bad.
Who had a worse career with the Philly teams? Al Horford with the Sixers or DeMarco Murray with the Eagles?
DeMarco Murray. I take that back. DeMarco Murray, definitely.
You gotta let me finish my question. That's it.
I know. He's a tough one to beat. He's a tough.
You think DeMarco Murray had a worse season than Al Horford?
Yeah, because it's different. Al Horford wasn't the MVP of the league.
Okay, good point.
Yeah, only good point.
I think DeMarco Murray had a better season with the Eagles than Al Horford did with the Sixers because at least DeMarco Murray had 2 breakout games. Al Horford didn't even have a standout game.
I was gonna say it's kind of tough because it's not like DeMarco Murray played god awful for the Eagles. Like, I think
just the expectations were so high.
I think part of he still rushed for like 800 yards, and I think he got in the end zone like 5 or 6 times, which obviously isn't that's a solid season. But I mean, the expectations were so high. I mean, we thought we were gonna win the Super Bowl that year.
Who had a worse career? Nnamdi Asomugha with the Eagles?
There's no one will beat this. You could say Byron. You're going to say Byron Maxwell, but it's not even close. Nnamdi was way worse. Byron Maxwell had like a couple of interceptions here and there. Man, remember we got Byron Maxwell? I thought we literally had Jalen Ramsey.
Dude, well, just the way we just had such a hole at the cornerback position, and this is why I don't get why you don't like Darius Slay now, dude. Darius is good.
No, I'm starting to like him a little bit more, but no, he's not that. He's older, man. That's the issue. He's older.
It's tough, but he's better than any cornerback we've had in that position in a long time.
Since Asante Samuel.
We can keep going on and on with who's had these better careers. I'm done.
Wait, who's the old Flyers goalie?
Ilya Bryzgalov.
Oh my God, he was the worst. He was the worst goalie ever.
Oh my gosh, Ilya Bryzgalov, what a stud!
Oh my God, he was
Dude, that team that he played for with the Flyers though, it was a great team. They had Yager, Briere, Giroux, Scotty Hartnell.
Dude, oh my God,
that was the prime. That was the prime of our life. The
The
Flyers were good. The Phillies were in the postseason every year.
The Eagles were solid. They were coming off those great years, but they were still okay. And the
Sixers won the playoffs in 2010. So we had.
But they were pretty bad, like growing up.
I know, but they won one series and then they faced Chicago. But they won Chicago. They won against Chicago.
They won. Well, that was because Derrick Rose tore his ACL in like game 2. So.
What I'm saying, I mean, we had a solid couple of years for Philly sports.
No, I mean, I always mention this, and before we sign off, I always like to tell this story. I was very fortunate enough. My uncle gave up his ticket. A lot of people don't remember, but the Phillies, when they won the World Series, the game where they won, it was postponed and played like 3 days later.
Yeah.
And there was like
Yeah.
3.5 innings left. My uncle went and he gave me my dad the tickets because he was like younger and didn't have he didn't have kids or anything at the time. He said, I want you two to go because you're like big Phillies fans. Nosebleeds with my dad. We won the World Series. We hugged. Everyone was screaming. My dad said, I want you to remember this because they're never going to win again. And fast forward 12 years later, yes, I'm so fortunate. I always say this, I can die a happy man knowing that my Philadelphia Eagles got one. I only needed one, Jim. You can agree with me. We only needed one. Obviously, we would love to have 10, but I always wanted one. But man, was he right. Because man, there's nothing Philly sports. We have it rough. We were so passionate, but
yeah, I mean, it took 28 years for the Philadelphia Phillies to win a ring again. They won in 1980 with Mike Schmidt, Steve
they
Carlton.
won a couple of years, got unlucky with the Joe Carter home run haunts me.
In 93. Yeah, that 93 team was not bad. It
2009 losing to the Yankees, but the Yankees were like stacked. That was like a super team.
Hideki Matsui came out of nowhere.
Yeah, he killed us. I hate that guy wherever he's at.
Chase Utley and Cliff Lee had such a great series that series.
Cliff Lee was unreal.
Dude, if Pedro Martinez could have just pitched one good game. One.
Oh yeah, I know. It's so bad.
That's the only thing New York has over us.
I actually had a stat I saw the other day. Pedro Martinez would actually it's like a crazy stat. Someone less than 100 losses and more than 300 wins or something like that. I know that sounds crazy.
No, dude, he was stud.
There was only one player that did that, and he would have been the second, but he played that like last little bit with the Phillies and got his 100th loss. He's only lost like literally 100 games, but he's won like 300. It's crazy. The only other guy that did that was like Walter Johnson in like the dead ball era when they used to throw like, that era when it was like 1919 and they just like were like.
Dude, it's so funny you brought up that 2009 World Series. Both teams were loaded with talent. Loaded.
The Philly, I always say it's going to be crazy. The Phillies, that 2008-9. I mean, first off, it always haunts me because that team should have won at least 2 to 3 World Series. The fact that we only won one.
We should have won in 2010. We should have won in 2010.
And I think we should have won. We should have won in 2011.
We won 102 and 60 in 2010.
Yeah. I just think it's kind of crazy to think about, but there might not be any Hall of Famers. Do I think there's players worthy of the Hall of Fame? Yes. I think Chase Utley is a Hall of Fame player. I think you can argue Jimmy Rollins being a Hall of Fame player with an MVP and stuff. We all thought Ryan Howard would be a surefire Hall of Famer, but man, we all know what happened. But it's going to be crazy. I don't think there might not be any Hall of Famers on that team.
I think Rollins and Utley get in. I do.
I think Hamels has a shot, and probably no, but I think he has a chance. I think Chase Utley is definitely. I think obviously at the end of his career he had some controversy.
Me personally, I would put those two players in. Chase Utley's fringe though, dude, because he had all the injuries he had. He's fringe.
He's also, I mean, this is an effect. The end of his career, he had some very negative
down years with the Dodgers.
Not like playing bad, but he also had that slide that made him a very hated player.
Wasn't keeping out of the Hall of Fame.
It was a clean play. I don't care what anybody says. Just a gritty guy. I look at that play all the time and I say, great play.
Yeah. He was just trying to break up the double play.
He ended up being safe on that play. Fun fact, he ended up being safe. The guy missed the base. Even better. So he just slid into him for no reason. I love that. But no, I mean, that's the point I wanted to make. But yeah.
The best player in 2008 was Matt Stairs.
That ball hasn't landed.
That ball is still going right now. It caught up into the stratosphere. It's gone.
That ball is literally in orbit.
That's your
worst call in sports of all time. Joe Buck was like, he hits it deep. It's going to go for a home run.
Stairs responded to the night. No energy. There was no energy. He could have completely. It could have been one of the best calls in the history of sports if he had some energy behind it.
It might be one of the most forgotten, unbelievable plays in MLB history.
That was huge, dude. Huge.
He like literally put all 300 pounds, all whatever how much he weighed, he put it all into that ball. That ball still has not landed.
Oh man, that was
missed those days. Just wanted to make that point with my dad. It's always a great story. You know, he told me he loved me and all that. We had a great moment, but he told me, remember this because it will probably never happen again. And 12, almost 13 years later, it is
I mean, hopefully in Harper's time, his Harper's era here in Philadelphia, he can get one.
I always said, Jim, I wanted to see, and I think you can agree. I want to see at least one from every team. And right now we've got two off the list, and I think I got two of the harder ones off the list: the Eagles and the Phillies. I could get the Sixers this year, and you never know. The Flyers, they got a really solid team.
I thought for sure last year during the COVID, Flyers had it. I thought, but the Islanders.
No, I'm telling you. I mean, I think you agree. I think I just want one from each. I'm not a greedy guy. I would love to see two out of each, but I'm not greedy. I would love to see one.
All right, well,
I'm not a Boston fan. I don't need to see 12. Just want to see one or two. It's okay.
We're calling it here on the show. We want to see one from each sport. I think we'll get them in our lifetime, but I don't know. I mean, these players watch the show, so
it took my grandma 84 years. She got them all.
They got to listen up. I know he's going to be pulling for us tomorrow night. You know, working towards that goal of holding up that trophy. So we'll see what happens.
It's our chance, baby. It's our chance.
Great show tonight, guys. We'll probably be on tomorrow night too. We're gonna invite
a lot of episodes coming up, and I also want to make a quick point. We're going to be having a lot of guests on.
Yeah,
guests are going to start flying. If you want to be on, let us know. We'll talk about it.
Reach out. We'll literally talk anything. We'll create a segment. We'll get something going.
No, we won't talk everything.
Yeah.
So not talking about it.
Forgot.
Gotta mention it.
I bet. Sorry. But no, we got someone coming on tomorrow night. We're gonna talk New York versus Philly. It's gonna be good. A lot of fun. And yeah, like Bryce said, don't forget to subscribe. Follow us, guys. We're on Instagram at the Brothers of Broad Street. You can follow Bryce and I's accounts because we post stuff too. But yeah, reach out. It's a lot of fun when we get guys on here to talk sports, because Bryce and I could talk here all night.
Yeah, we could sit here all night. But yeah, just reach out. Let us know. You want to talk college football, college baseball, anything. We'll talk anything. I love sports. There's no denying that. You want to give out a pick on the show? Compete against me? Maybe we can get someone to compete against me.
We could do tallies. We could do.
Yeah, I mean, no one has a shot against me, but maybe we can bring in that guy.
I was about to say maybe that guy might want to do a face-off.
Yeah. I just want to. Before we get off, just want to everyone. When you're going to bed tonight, just send out a prayer.
Maybe if you know who that guy is, reach out, text him, just see if he's doing okay.
Yeah, we get. I'm pretty sure, if you live around here, you can connect the dots on who we're talking about. But get him next time. Get him next time. There's always tomorrow.
Oh man, Bryce, great show tonight, brother. I'll catch you tomorrow. And guys, thank you for listening in. Once again, don't forget to subscribe and follow us, because the more support, the better. And let's keep it going. Let's keep it going.
Go Birds, baby.
Go Birds. Go Sixers. Big win tomorrow. We
got Phillies.
Go every Philly sports team. Go the Philadelphia Union.
No, I'm not a sports fan. That.
Go to the Philadelphia Soul. Let's go, baby.
Yeah, let's go Soul, baby. Come on.
All right. See ya.